Welcome to the Caregiver Relief Podcast. I'm your host, Diane Carbo, RN. Today, we are opening the door to a topic many caregivers are curious about, but may feel uncomfortable asking about: medical cannabis. For years, cannabis has been surrounded by stigma, confusion, and misinformation. But as regulations change and research expands, more families are asking whether cannabis or cannabis compounds may have a role in supporting comfort, sleep, pain relief, anxiety, appetite, and quality of life. But this is also where caregivers need to be careful. Cannabis is not a one-size-fits-all product. It is not risk-free. It can interact with medications, affect balance, thinking, mood, and safety, especially in older adults. That is why education matters. My guest today is Honey Smith Walls, host of Cannabis Truth Podcast, a certified cannabis educator, and the author of her new book, Healing Beyond High, Cannabis Truth. Honey is passionate about helping people move beyond fear and hype so they can make informed and intentional decisions. Honey has interviewed medical professionals and experts who are helping families understand the science, the myths, and the real questions we should be asking about cannabis. Today, we are going to talk about what caregivers and seniors need to know, what questions to ask, and how to approach this topic with wisdom, safety, and an open mind. This episode is sponsored by myvitalvault.net, your all-in-one life organizer for aging adults and caregivers. It's designed to help you securely store your essential legal, medical, and emergency information in one easy-to-access place. Because when a crisis hits, being prepared can make all the difference. Join our Caregiver Relief community, a warm, welcoming space where you can connect with other caregivers, ask questions, share stories, and find support from people who truly understand. Visit community.caregiverrelief.com to join now, because caregiving is one of the hardest and most meaningful things you'll ever do, and no one should have to do it alone. And if this episode speaks to you, please take a moment to like, share, or comment. Every click helps us reach more caregivers who need encouragement, resources, and hope. Honey, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited about this topic. I have clients that ask me all the time, should I do this? Is it safe? And of course, I have to refer them to you because I have no idea.
Diane, it's wonderful to be here with you. Thank you so much for helping me spread the good news about cannabis to our audience. I hear you. I understand what you must be going through in this confusing era, this confusing cannabis moment in our time, in our society right now. And so I had some issues that I wanted to clear up, and I began using cannabis for myself when I realized, oh my goodness, this is more than just a quick little fix for one moment. This is so much more, and helped me through some pretty traumatic events in my lifetime. So once I figured that out for myself, of course, big blabbermouth me, I got to tell everybody about it. And I'm also a bit of a researcher, so I just sat back in my armchair for years and years and studied this plant and all the people, the scientists who were studying it to begin with, when it really before it became legal and
Yes.
available to them. So now that the laws are changing again
Yes.
in the favor of cannabis, we are finally going to see some real clinical testing, and that will develop into a new mode of operandi, if you will, because cannabis doesn't fit nicely into the American Medical Association of pharmaceutical prescriptions that they have at their fingertips for all of our ailments and aches and
Yes.
pains.
Right.
And as you said earlier, it's not a one-stop shop for everybody. It's very individualistic, and that's what we want our audience to understand. It is so individualistic that no two people will ever have the same effects or feel the same or respond internally the same way that your friend does, your husband does, your
Yeah.
mother does, your child does. And yes, did I say child? Yes. Cannabis is a medicine, and we use it for all ages, and we use it also for all animals. Now, here's what I really want your audience to understand, and this may help turn the key in their mind. All humans and all animals have a receptor system in their body that binds perfectly with all the hundreds of cannabinoids and terpenes and other compounds in the cannabis plant. And so, what that means is that when we use cannabis and ingest it, it spreads throughout our body, targeting the areas that needs it most. And when you discover that this receptor system runs throughout your entire body, in your bones, this receptor system is in your DNA, and same for animals, then you begin to realize that the cannabinoids, the compounds inside cannabis, will affect all kinds of issues for anxiety, inflammation, and acute pain relief. Now, those are three typical ailments for all humans and animals that cannabis, what we consider to be a weed on the planet Earth,
Yeah.
will alleviate all kinds of pain for. And once you start getting into the science of cannabis, not only is it absolutely fascinating, but you begin to feel hope for yourself. I didn't even know I was an anxious woman until I was in my 60s and realized that the cannabis that was settling my nervous system down made me understand finally that my head didn't have to be in the chaos that I had lived in all my life, and that anxiety was not a normal mode for a human to live in. It's a state of fight or flight. And I had been living in fight or flight all my life until I got a hold of some cannabis and realized with the relief what calm felt like, what lack of pain felt like. So it was an absolute awakening for me. And then I couldn't wait to tell all my old girlfriends.
I'm laughing because I never heard about the endocannabinoid system. I'm in New Hampshire helping during COVID. I went up to New Hampshire to help my son open his first ketamine clinic, and he took me to a dispensary. As a nurse, I had never, we were afraid to get tested and stuff, but I have some stories I will share. But anyway, Casey took me to my first dispensary, and we were laughing because I was open-minded to it because Casey says, Mom, if you read about the endocannabinoid system, you'll understand. And like you, I started doing research on it and I loved it. But I want to talk about your book, Healing Beyond High, Cannabis Truth. What does healing beyond high mean to you?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, because elders, as you probably realize, especially from the elder care that you're involved in,
Yes.
are not looking to get high. They're looking for relief but
Yes.
their main fear is falling, because if you
Yeah.
fall as an elder,
Yeah.
you're likely to break something, and that changes your entire world and everybody around you.
100%. Yes.
And so we're very, very anxious over the fall.
Yeah.
And that means that because of the bad reputation of cannabis, we're afraid we're going to get high and fall.
The
And
other concern
so,
my dad had, and I'll share that story later, is he was gonna get addicted. You know?
yes.
Yeah,
And
and
so we just don't know anything about
yes,
plant other than what we've been spoon fed by our government, which
yes,
is just not the truth.
yes,
And
yeah,
so I don't like going into conspiracy, but
yeah,
truly that is the background of this plant. They wanted to use this plant to incarcerate people of color
yeah,
and to maintain a network of, I want to say, police society.
yeah. Police state, yeah,
Yeah, and police state, so that they could, well, anyway, that is
yeah.
a whole nother story. And I
Yes,
give
yes,
you a little bit of that in my book, but not enough to feel too much pain over, because it's painful to watch when our government wipes something out and away from use that would be helpful or beneficial to society.
now
Let
that
me give
just
you another
changed.
example of something like that happened in our American society. There was a car by a man named Tucker, the Tucker.
Mm,
It came out before the Rolls Royce, and it was a fabulous car. But the guy was a small operator. The big operators closed him down. They shut out, they bought up all of the parts companies where he bought the car parts from, and they wouldn't sell to him anymore. So his car went by way of, you know,
it's extinct.
it went extinct like the dinosaurs,
Yeah,
because there was a conspiracy surrounding him to get
yeah,
rid of them. His car was too good,
yeah,
and they didn't want him. They didn't want him in the game. So
yeah,
they shut him out. Cannabis by big pharma
yes,
cannot be contained easily. There are too many compounds in it, and big pharma has a problem with a shelf life for cannabis. And when they found that making pressed pills out of, you know, the other laboratory compounds that they can
uh-huh.
create in a lab was so much easier than trying to extend the shelf life of a live plant. So
Ah,
you see the difference.
yeah,
Big Pharma didn't want to mess with all the live plant cannabinoids and terpenes, and there was no study, when they could just create a fresh new synthetic compound in the laboratory and dispense it as much as they wanted.
yes, yes,
So, the reason I named my book Healing Beyond High is because of the bad reputation of cannabis.
yeah,
Most elders think that you're just going to get high on cannabis and that's all there is to it. And they don't want to just get high. They
yeah,
want relief for their pain, for their anxiety, for their inflammation. And that's what cannabis is precisely perfect for: pain, inflammation, and anxiety, all three of those, for either humans or animals. Once you realize the key to finding help for pain, or help for inflammation, or
mhm,
help for anxiety, or help for all three of those at the
mhm,
same time, then you realize what a brilliant compound this plant has in it, many of them. This plant has many compounds in it, and how easily it can help you throughout your lifetime of needing pain relief.
yeah. In the 70s, honey, I was working as an RN at a big city hospital, and the head nurse, we all loved her.
Yeah.
And she was young, young as in her 40s, when we were all in our
Right.
20s, okay?
Yeah.
So we're working at this hospital, and she was diagnosed with cancer, and the treatments were horrific in those days.
Yep.
And she had severe nausea and vomiting. And we used to sneak weed into her into the hospital so she could, because they couldn't stop her vomiting. They just couldn't. And nausea. So this actually was, we brought it in, and I didn't do it. I
What
wasn't.
form? Was it like in food?
We actually brought it so she could, and I can tell you, I've smelled pot in hospital rooms my whole entire life.
Oh,
But
funny. So she smoked a joint.
she smoked a joint, and
Nice.
it helped her
Instantly.
so much. And I will tell you, I'll tell this story too. My dad was diagnosed, it was in the 90s, and he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And his blood sugars were all over the place. His appetite would be good, then it would be bad. He had waves of nausea and stuff. So I go to my brothers and sisters and say, "Hey, can you get some pot for dad?" Well, they all did drugs, but they're like working employees and really upstanding members of the community. So they refused to help me. So I go to the local neighbor kid, and I got some for my dad, and I took it to him. And my dad, he says, "What if I get addicted to it?" And he was all upset about it. And I said, "Dad, you're dying." He was on hospice. And I said, "Dad, you're dying. What do you care if you get addicted? If it helps you feel better, if it helps stop that nausea and vomiting and even increases your appetite so you can eat, what do you care?" He flushed it down the toilet after all
Oh
that
my
work.
goodness.
But it was his fear, and, I
Um,
felt so bad because, I have not done drugs because I was always afraid to be tested, and I became very open to it when I was exploring things like my son's ketamine. People think that's a terrible drug, and it's
yeah,
absolutely not. It's an amazing drug that does amazing things, but again, it's been given a bad rap. Uh
right.
by the media or even our government, I guess. I don't know.
Any alternative therapy
Yeah,
outside of the
yes,
American sick care system
yes, yes.
and big pharma. You look on any television commercial that's big pharma, and it will tell you the joys of taking their pharmaceuticals, and then you listen to the side effects
Side effects, I
as
know.
they read them very
Oh,
quickly. You gotta listen very fast to
yes,
all
yeah,
the deadly side effects.
yeah, yeah.
Deadly.
Yes, yes.
I'm
Oh,
just shocked.
yes.
Cannabis doesn't cause death. There's no known recording of any cause of death by cannabis on the planet.
Okay. I just know that I've learned a lot about it, and that's why I thought it was so important to have you on today. Now, this is going to be a new topic to many of my listeners out there. Can you explain the difference between THC, CBD,
Yeah.
cannabinoids, and the cannabis plant itself?
Yes, and people are also confused about hemp and marijuana.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it's not addicting. It is
Okay.
not addicting. It won't kill you.
Okay.
Can't die from using too much cannabis. You can get nauseated and feel badly from using too much THC.
Okay.
If you overuse THC, it can make you nauseated. It can make you feel weird and maybe feel like you're paralyzed. You're not, but it can make you feel like that, make you
So
think you are.
THC is the psychoactive component.
THC is that amazing compound in cannabis that gets you high. It's called delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol, otherwise known as THC. Now, here's what you don't know: you never have to get high on THC. Although it can make you high, you never have to get high on it if you know what you're doing. And that's called microdosing. We're not in the teenage realms of wanting to smoke a joint and smoke our brains out. That's
Yeah.
not us. We're a
No.
different era. We want
That
what
was us when we were younger. My generation was definitely
me
about
too,
that.
and I love getting high,
Oh,
but I save that for my own private special celebratory
yeah,
moments.
yeah,
And what I want is something that I can use daily, starting first thing in the morning, because my
yeah,
hands hurt like hell when I first
yeah,
wake up from
yeah,
neuropathy in my fingers and terrible arthritis. So
yeah,
I need something first thing. And then I don't want to be, I don't want to be high in the morning. I have to get too many things done.
yeah, yeah,
And so when we try to use cannabis for acute pain, like my
yes,
hands first thing in the morning,
mhm,
I'm not using so much THC that it's going to make me high. I'm using enough THC combined with other cannabinoid compounds,
mm,
tame that
that came,
THC
yeah,
and to keep me from going into any kind of head euphoria. That's
uh-huh,
not where I want to be. I want to be able to function, go make breakfast, fix chow for the dogs, get ready for my work day, and
yeah,
be able to write with a pen to make my hands and my fingers work again.
yes,
And
yeah,
so just being able to bend over and put my socks on, that's, first thing in the morning, you're tight. Having relief in my heart, not feeling anxious over my own medical conditions.
yeah,
That's a real joy. And so I'm using cannabis all day long, but I use it specifically in certain ways. And that means I use it as a tincture in drops, a
mhm,
few drops at a time,
mhm,
or I use it later. I'll smoke a joint because I'm an old hippie and I like the hand to mouth thing.
uh-huh,
And smoking a joint gives you instant relief from
uh-huh,
nausea. So if when you ingest cannabis, like
mhm,
eating it or swallowing a tincture, it might take 30 minutes to an hour
right,
before you feel it. So there's strategy in how you use cannabis.
mhm,
And I use it in different forms all day long, not getting high,
yeah,
just microdosing enough so that I have absolute pain relief and I can smile and be happy and feel joy in my heart.
yeah. That
I don't
you have a
have,
better quality of life.
that's right, I don't
Yeah.
have pain in front of every thought.
Right, right, and I as a person who lives with chronic pain, I can tell you that it's very frustrating, and I can't take medicines. That's why I started CBD oils, and I want you to talk about CBD oils, explain those a little bit, because they have really helped me in a lot of ways.
So, are you using a full spectrum CBD
Always.
oil?
Yes.
So, let me tell the audience what that means.
Yes.
There's new terminology that you'll learn once you start using cannabis. And we use the clinical term cannabis to mean marijuana or hemp,
Yes.
see, because it's really the same plant grown differently for different effects. So CBD is a cannabinoid that grows in the cannabis plant. When hemp is grown, more CBD grows in hemp. So that's where people are getting their CBD from, mostly because it's more available. And CBD, which is a cannabinoid called cannabidiol, had to get cannabinoid and cannabidiol separated in my mind. Cannabidiol is a very helpful compound because it completely reduces inflammation and
Mhm.
it does it very, very fast. But it also handles anxiety. And when we have pain, our anxiety level grows exponentially. The more pain we have, the more anxiety.
That's true.
So CBD is one of the most well-known compounds in cannabis. And mostly they take it out of the hemp plant because it grows much more in the hemp plant than it
Mhm.
does in the marijuana plant. They're both cannabis plants, but marijuana grows more THC, that compound that gets us high. And so it's easier to get THC out of a marijuana plant and CBD out of a hemp plant. But both of those plants have all of the compounds in it. And what I meant by asking if you were using a full spectrum hemp plant, that means it's got all the compounds in it, not just CBD and a little bit of THC, but also CBG and CBC and all the other cannabinoid and terpene compounds. And there's esters and alcohols. There's just probably thousands of compounds in the plant that we have yet to discover. But CBD, cannabidiol, and C are the two compounds that we know the most. What we're finding out now is that CBG, cannabigerol, which is the mother of all of those compounds, every single one of the compounds come out of CBG, cannabigerol. It too has a marvelous effect on neuropathy. So I am really trying to get my CBG in with the other compounds. And you can do that when you use full spectrum products. So when you go to a dispensary, and you were about to tell us about your adventures there with your son, really what most dispensaries sell up here in Michigan are recreational THC products that are very high in THC, and they're selling the high. When you go to a dispensary down in Florida, which is a medical only state,
Yes.
you will see the difference in medical products. It's the
Yeah.
same plant, but it's cleaner. They have a certificate of analysis on that product that tells you exactly what compounds are in it and at what ratios, so that you can understand what you're taking and why it's affecting you the way it is.
Yeah.
So the reason we use full spectrum is because of that endocannabinoid system of receptors in your body. All those hundreds of compounds in a full spectrum product play nicely with your endocannabinoid system of receptors. And they shoot like a little shotgun blast of an army going into your body and helping you recuperate and get past the pain, inflammation, and anxiety that your body is feeling. So, using one compound like CBD, like taking an isolate of CBD and putting it in a jar, and you just using that one isolate, yes, you'll get help from that, but not nearly the help as if you had gotten a full spectrum product that orchestrates an amazing recovery throughout your entire body.
I bought my first CBD experience through Charlotte's Web, and they're very reputable. So I knew it was going to be a good product. And I did do the research, and I did get a full spectrum, because it's very confusing, because there's Delta 9, Delta B, Delta P, Delta. Can you talk about that just a little bit? Touch on it. Like, what are these Delta products and the different ones? Are they isolates and they're not full spectrum?
So that's correct. And
Oh,
I would stay away from all of that mess. I
okay.
do not recommend going into recreational dispensaries to buy your weed if you can avoid it, because they sell isolates that
Mhm,
are really, really strong compounds, and there's
mhm.
no way for you to micro dose.
Okay.
And that's what we want to do as
Yeah.
elders trying to get rid of our pain. We want to microdose just enough of a good product that we're not high, but we feel the pain relief. And
Yeah.
it's going to be different for every single person.
Yeah.
So stay away from all the nonsense and all that stuff that you just don't understand. Don't do it. Instead, pick up a book, turn on, go to a dispensary like a medical, look up medical and
Mhm.
see who their products are by. You mentioned a fabulous product, Charlotte's Web.
Yes.
Charlotte Fiji was a little girl that was having several hundred seizures a day when her mother realized that a hemp product, hemp oil, would stop them. And that is what kicked off the great marijuana mothers' migration to Colorado to
Mhm.
help their babies with seizure conditions stop seizing. And that's how Charlotte's Web became so famous. So we love Charlotte's Web products, and they are full spectrum and a really good place to start. If you want to start with a good product, you can be
Yeah.
assured
Yeah.
that's a great place to go.
And CBD in Charlotte's Web at this point in time is less than 3% THC in it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's the highest amount the government will allow for that to be in a THC to be in a product right now.
Yes, I was looking for the word arbitrary. That's the
Yes, thank you.
arbitrary number that our government decided to restrict us with.
Yeah,
So they need to just get their grubby little hands off of it and let the scientists do the work and
yeah,
figure out how we can make this product available to humanity and the animal kingdom in such a way that we can really utilize its value. So I'm sure AI is going to be helping us a lot with this process now
I
that
think
we have that. Yeah.
my first experience with I only do tinctures. I can't smoke. I just can't do it. I don't know why, but I've never smoked. So I do tinctures, which are unpleasant, but you just put them under your tongue. You don't even taste them until you're ready to swallow. But my first experience was I'm up in the Poconos with my girlfriend and I'm looking out the window. It's a beautiful spring morning. And all of a sudden I realized, ooh, I'm a little loopy, very light loopy,
Yeah.
and it was my response to the first time. And now I take it, it doesn't affect me at all like that. But the first time, and I thought, what is going on? Why do I feel this way? And then I called my son and he says, Mom, that's what it feels like to be high. I went, oh, damn.
So,
Oh.
and
And it
you've
did
had
stop.
alcohol before, right? That
Oh,
first sip, that
yeah,
first
yeah.
couple of sips,
Yes,
and
yes,
you're high, but you're not really drunk yet, but you're a
yes.
little tipsy.
Exactly.
It's
That's
that.
exactly what it was like. Yes.
Yeah. And it's not unpleasant at all. But if
No,
it's
no. But
morning
I
and
I
you're
was
a
still able to
surgeon or
function. I was still
right.
able to function and do things that day. I just was like it was just like it wasn't an unpleasant experience, but I was just like, "Oh, wow." And I was disappointed because you get used to it. And I
That's
laughed because
tolerance.
that's
You built
tolerant. Yeah.
tolerance.
Yeah, it's building a tolerance up. And that's why you have to I rotate my full spectrum products, so products from different companies now so that I don't always get adjusted to just one different product. But yeah,
It's a real good plan of action too, because you don't know how long a product is going to be in production.
yeah, there you go. Well, I didn't
And
know that.
also, every harvest is different. I mean, I know
Yeah.
they're making clones, but if two identical products from the same plant sit on the shelf just a few days different time, different length, they have a shelf life.
Yeah.
And if one is sitting in the sun and the other one is not, you're going to get different compounds developing from the heat.
Ah,
Those compounds will change from one thing to another. For instance, THC has a compound precursor to it called THCA. It's the acidic version of THC. You can actually extract THCA and use it all day long, and you will not get high. because you cannot get high on THCA, the acidic
Interesting.
version. But if that THCA product sits on a shelf for too long, it will turn into THC and make you high as a kite.
Well, see, I didn't
So,
know that. Now,
right.
there's changes in the cannabis regulations. What do you think seniors and my listeners out there should pay attention to over the next few years?
Oh, it's very exciting right now because the scheduling was changed. It was a Schedule 1, which meant no medical use, worse than heroin, don't touch this, it'll kill you, to a Schedule 3, which is now what a lot of our drugs are on that we are prescribed by our doctors. So now, as a Schedule 3, theoretically, our
Mhm.
doctors will be able to prescribe it for us, and that means insurance.
Interesting. I did not
So
realize.
right. So what we have to do now is get our doctors educated about it. There's only a few schools that have opened up for cannabinoidology. The Boston School of Pharmacy is one of them. They have a cannabinoidology master's, and there's one out in California. And so the universities are starting finally to open up to it and give master's education in cannabinoidology. So those are the people that I've been hanging out with, those scientists and nurses and doctors who are interested in learning more and more about this plant and getting it to the people. And that's why I wrote my little book, Healing Beyond High, because it's very hard to understand what the doctors are trying to tell us in their medical speak. So I wrote a
Absolutely.
little primer that helps you understand what they mean and what's good for you and what you should avoid and what the strategies are at this point and how you can find a product for yourself and doing just what you're doing.
Mm,
You are using several different products, which gives you a huge variety of compounds, and
yeah.
that's really great. And you have researched those products to make sure that they are
Yeah.
what they are intended to be.
Yes. Yes. What is the most important message you want my listeners to take away from your book and your work?
That you can learn something that will benefit your health for the rest of your life in less than a 2-hour read, and
That's
for
awesome.
less than the price of dinner at McDonald's. And then you can pass that information on to your friends and family. And you can show your doctors that this is a good plant and that you want to retain autonomy over your own health care. You are not subject to just the American Medical Association for your health care. There's all kinds of worldly alternatives that we should investigate. Chiropractics,
Yeah.
healing teas, all
Hey,
kinds of
I
things.
use class 4 laser therapy to manage my pain as well, and light therapy, and that's an alternative thing
I've
too.
used light therapy. I love light
Yeah,
therapy.
I
There's
do too.
sound therapy. There's
Yeah,
all
there's so many different, and the thing is, baby boomers are demanding alternatives. They absolutely are. They want the East meets West approach to their healthcare.
definitely.
And I'm living in Myrtle Beach that it's illegal here at the present time for anybody to use, you know, have a dispensary or anything. Where I don't know if we'll get there. It's just thoughts, people's mindsets have to change. But honey, I
That's
just
it.
really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I recommend that people, how do they contact you?
Oh, just go find me on Facebook or look up healingbeyondhigh.com. And
Uh,
you'll find all kinds of interesting information there at your disposal for free. Healingbeyondhigh.com. And it's been so wonderful to be here and just chat about all of this with you openly and freely. We were afraid to talk about this just a few years ago out in the open.
I had people that were critical of me for using CBD.
Yeah.
Oh my lord, but you know what? It's fear,
Yeah.
it's, of the unknown,
Yeah.
that we've been fed a line of story
Yeah.
about this that was wrong,
Yeah.
and we just need to be open-minded and look at alternatives and find out what's right for you, but
Agreed.
responsibly. Thank you so
Don't
much.
also, just one other thing, don't believe everything you think.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah,
just don't expand your mind. Your thoughts are inside a brain, and we don't know. There's so much more to learn about this
yeah,
world
yeah.
and ideas. So don't believe everything you think. Go ahead and do research and find out from trusted sources. And you'll recognize trusted sources when you see them. You'll hear them because they'll explain why they should be trusted and
Yeah.
how you can trust them, why their trust is worthy of your attention. Do your homework, do your research, and start with my book and start with Charlotte's Web if you're looking for a good product, and go from there.
Thank you so much, honey. To my family caregivers out there, you are the most important part of the caregiving equation. Without you, it all falls apart. So learn to be gentle with yourself. Practice self care every day because you are worth it.